So our third focus is supporting orphans, and currently we are supporting over 60 children with a safe and loving home, education, and food. And many of these children, they come from the street, from the slum, from begging in the villages or at train stations or poor mountain villages. And currently we have 6 children homes across Southeast Asia that we are supporting. And a little background on how I got involved with this. In 2013, my girlfriend and I were traveling around India and Nepal, and during our time in India, I personally felt useless, and I asked God, how could He possibly use me to do anything in this country? I was afraid of the heat. I was afraid of the mass people, the unfamiliar terrain, and not speaking or knowing the language. I felt completely lost. And this one particular day, I asked God to make me fearless and to give me courage and boldness. And that night, by no coincidence, my friend and I ended up sleeping on the streets of India in the train station with all the other homeless people. And I remember laying down on this blue bench, mad at God. And it was there, for the first time in my life, I saw God as my Father. And I had a conversation with Him. I was like, God, You are my Father. How could You let this happen to me? How could You let me sleep on the streets of India? My earthly father would not approve of this. And I just felt like God gently speak to my heart. And He said, I am your heavenly Father. And I love you more than your earthly father. And this is exactly where I want you to be. And then He said, didn't you ask me to be fearless? I had already forgotten my prayer that day that I had asked God to make me fearless. And I felt like God speak to my heart again. He said, I want you to be fearless of the darkest night. And I want you to see all these people around here who I love. And I looked around and I saw this young mother about my age distracting her child with a little rat running in the distance. And I felt like God said, I love these people and I want you to love them and do something for them. Well, it was by no coincidence the next day we got on our train and we met a young couple in Varanasi, India, who had a heart to start a children's home and to bring orphans off the street, out of begging, out of the train stations, and from these begging villages. And in 2014, we started one children's home, and there's around 10 children that live there, and they've been there for now almost 5 years. And this is just one story of one of the homes that we support. So God can use me, He can use you. He can use us to do great things. So pray how you can be involved in His kingdom, whether at home or abroad.